It is said by the seafarers and sirens of the past that there are monsters who live deep in the sea. As sailors of old ventured out across these vast oceans and sometimes angry seas, these monsters would rise up from the deep and drag these mighty ships of the seven seas down into the deep, dark depths of the ocean. Jules Verne once wrote such a story of a mighty captain called Nemo, who sailed a submersible ship called the Nautilus. He explored the magical cities beneath the seas. He too, at one time, came upon a giant of the deep, dark seas called a kraken, who tried to drag Nemo and his mates down to these deep, dark, and cold depths. This is not that story. This will be the beginnings of the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea Aquarium, or what we might call the Nautilus tank. This tank is 53 inches across, 21 inches on its left side, and 41 inches on its right side. It'll be 60 inches tall with a bowed front. Inside here will be the Nautilus ship and the squid or octopus grasping it as it tries to swim away. We're going to take this template today to the tank manufacturer and get the ball rolling. So come with us as we launch onto another exciting episode of LA Fishguys. So this being the location outside of the house where the filter system's going to go, with the blue tape I have gone through and masked off kind of the frame of the cabinet that all the equipment is going to sit in. I've also gone through and kind of masked off where the equipment is, and of course all the plumbing lines, so that I could get an idea as to what kind of fittings and pipe and such I needed. This will be where the refrigeration unit sits. This is where the wet-dry trickle filter will sit. Here's where the two water pumps will sit. Canister filter, that's the area that is going to pass through the wall into the aquarium, and then the electrical will be out here somewhere. And they are making a large metal cabinet that they are rhino lining, and that's where all the equipment will sit down inside. This is the location that the tank will go into, and they're currently bringing electrical in. This is the area that we're going to cut the passage from the tank to the filter system outside. And then this up here is where all the lighting will go. And then that is the tank itself rolled out, which has a nifty little metal stand that's on casters. And that allows us to easily roll it back into position. And I think what we're going to do today is try to get the plumbing on the underside of the tank in place, so we can then define more specifically where it's going to pass through the wall. So the overflow, which is in the corner, is a triangular shaped overflow, and down at the bottom is a 2-inch hole for a bulkhead, and then 2 3/4 inch for returns. We're going to build a Durzo standpipe inside here, and then there are 2 holes here for the returns that'll come into the top of the tank. In addition to that, there is a 1.5 inch suction in the back of the tank, and then its return from the suction will be these 2 1-inch returns up in the front corner. And so today the goal is to get all those bulkheads into the bottom of the tank with the fittings on the underside, so that we can take and roll this tank back into that little nook.
So the return line is now in place. Those are the knuckles for the discharge side. Inside the overflow, the two return lines and their tubing pass down through the internal overflow. Next step will be to get the Durzo standpipe cut and in place. We'll then slide this whole thing as one piece in, and we can tighten up the bulkhead. So with the Durzo standpipe now in place, that will lessen any of the noise from water spilling into the internal overflow. We may at some point adjust the hole size on the top of that, but small to start with, and we can always enlarge in it.
With the standpipe bulkhead tightened, we've now come to the three fittings involve what's called the circulation or closed loop portion of the dual filter system. This involves two 1-inch returns at the front bottom of the tank and a single 1.5-inch suction at the bottom on the back side of the tank. Because of the 60-inch depth of the tank, I need to use my tongs to reach down to the bottom of the tank to position the bulkheads. On another note, these tall tanks tend to not have much elevation off the floor, so it requires a horizontal position under the tank to ensure that I get the bulkheads properly tightened. And now, with the bulkheads tightened, you can see the two 1-inch returns at the bottom front corners of the tank. And its single 1.5-inch suction line in the back bottom side of the tank.
Hello, my name's Jim Stein and I operate Aquarium Design, and I offer aquarium sales, installation, supplies, livestock, and aquarium maintenance in Thousand Oaks, Westlake Village, Agora Hills, Calabasas, and Malibu, California.
I specialize in custom aquariums ranging from freshwater, saltwater fish, living coral reef, and jellyfish display systems. I've been involved professionally and at many levels within the aquarium industry since 1987, and have been in business for myself since 1999. I've worked for many people, and some for over 20 years now. My team can provide you with a unique range of aquarium systems ranging from rectangular in-wall to freestanding cylinders, bow fronts, and custom curved shapes. Additionally, we can offer a variety of aquascapes such as an artificial coral insert, coral skeleton decorations, custom-made branching rock structures, and themed environments such as this Jules Verne version of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. With today's technology in energy-efficient DC water pumps and LED lighting, operating costs are much lower. We can automate many of the maintenance features, such as water replenishment, water changes, lighting schedule, including moonlight lighting, and even your general daily feedings.
I can even install an app on your smartphone that will allow you to monitor, to be notified, to control, and view your aquarium anywhere in the world.
If you're looking for something truly unique, give me a call and let's discuss the possibilities of creating your aquatic dream. I'm knowledgeable, insured, and very reliable.
My name is Jim Stein, and you can reach me at 805-241-7140. I look forward to helping you achieve your aquatic dream.
Reef Hobbyist magazine believes that our hobby, our fellow hobbyists, and the animals in our care are best served by the free distribution of quality information. Reef Hobbyist magazine provides hobbyists with critical husbandry information with an emphasis on marine ornamental breeding efforts. Reef Hobbyist magazine is available for free in local fish stores across the country, or you can subscribe at www.reefhobbyistmagazine.com. So, your cool nano reef tank is doing great, but you've got an algae problem? Consider the drop from Santa Monica Filtration. 7 sizes to easily fit into the filter compartment of most nano tanks. And just like their bigger cousins, the Hog and the Surf all use air bubbles and LED light technology to grow algae. Algae that consumes nutrients. And that algae replaces itself at no new cost to you. For more information on Santa Monica Filtration's drop, hog, and surf algae scrubbers, visit santa-monica.cc.
Hi there, my name's Jim Stein and you know me as the LA Fish Guy. Well, I also wear a couple of other hats. One of them is the Jellyfish tank called the Jelly Aquarium, and the third is myfishtank.com. I offer an entire line of acrylic aquariums ranging from rectangular to hexagon, flatback hex, as well as the custom curve front aquariums. There's also an entire line of stands and canopies ranging from MDF to pine to oak with a variety of different finishes available. And the website is even smart enough that you can calculate what the freight and crate charges to your location will be. That's myfishtank.com. So we'll start first with the cabinet itself. It's actually a metal box with a hinge lid on top of it, and the box itself has been rhino lined on its outside and powder coated as well, so that it's impervious to corrosion and such, and it incorporates all of the filtration inside of there. So we'll start over here. The large pipe is the one that comes from the overflow that's inside the tank, wraps around the front of the filter here and goes into the top of the wet-dry trickle filter. It's got a couple of vents there to allow or to minimize the siphon or sparklets bottle effect. You can see there's a pretty good roar of water going down through the wet-dry trickle filter. It then passes over here into the sump portion. We've got a ATB protein skimmer, a model 1050. There's also a Santa Monica Filtration rain algae scrubber inside the tank. There will be heaters down inside here, as well as a couple other components that I can't recall exactly at the moment. Moves over into the final chamber where the floats are that work with the automatic top-off system. That being fed from a reverse osmosis unit probably 50 feet away in the customer's laundry room. And that water then is picked up by this pump down here. I take that back, it's picked up by this pump over here, which in turn then sends it back inside into the house. In addition to the filter pump, there's also the circulation pump, which draws water from the back bottom of the tank, brings it into this pump, which in turn sends it over through the UV sterilizer, which branches off and goes into the pleated canister filter. That in turn goes back into the tank and returns through one of the returns in the bottom of the tank. Over here, the split of the circulation pump turns out it passes over into the refrigeration compartment here. In the chiller compartment is the refrigeration unit that is basically boxed in. It has a large vent on its inlet side. There is a very strong exhaust fan that sucks the air basically across the entire chiller and then blows it out here at the top. If I remember right, that's a half-horse refrigeration unit. There's lots of union fittings so that in case we have an issue with the chiller, it's easily removed. And then that water in turn passes back over here and moves to the opposing return in through the bottom of the tank. And so it's a pretty exotic filter system, and yet at the same time based on a very simple wet-dry trickle filter process. And because this cabinet is metallic, that's been rhino lined as well as powder coated, it's got this large lid on the top, which is extremely heavy. So in an effort to make it easier on the fish guy, there's been an actuator installed that raises and lowers the lid by itself. And all the lighting obviously is on top of the tank with this cover in front of it.
And then to raise the light hood is a matter of turning the switch, and the lighting system itself will rise up, which has, I believe, 5 Kessel LED lights in there, 3 Reef Bright LED light strips, plus 2 ultraviolet LED light strips inside the tank. And then with the lighting system lifted up and out of the way, then we have access to the top of the tank. And then controlling as well as monitoring everything is a Apex system supplemented with a number of additional components that the homeowner worked in himself. There's a series of what he refers to as bricks. I call them power supplies that drive all the different lights. There's a whole series of relay switches over here. That's the Apex energy bar. Over here, I believe, is a transformer. There's the Apex brain, and all of this stuff here is on the back side in the next room, so that it's not exposed to salt, moisture, etc. And then this Apex system will be connected to the Wi-Fi, which in turn will allow me access through the app for not only monitoring but being notified of certain things and allowing me to control things as well. And so today I'm going to introduce the gravel into the bottom of the tank. The tank has been filled with deionized water, and so I'm also going to introduce the salt mix into the tank. And now with the various buckets of rinsed gravel ready to put into the tank, I think I'll start first with the bags of salt. And once I put the gravel into the tank, the water will become a bit hazy, but that'll clear up relatively quickly. Let's now take a few moments to talk about the star of the tank, the sculpture. It's a scale model of the Nautilus submarine from the story 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and it includes the Kraken, giant squid, or sea monster, whichever you prefer to choose. There are fiber optics in both the navigation dome and observation ports, and both the eyes in the Kraken, all of which are programmable and color change. The entire sculpture stands 48 inches tall inside a 60-inch tall tank. And that's all for now, and while new episodes may not come often enough for you, there are more coming. So as always, keep moving forward.